63 years of independence, 63 years of promises, 63 years of patience. It's time for governance now. Governance now. Let's make it work.
The economic changes that are happening themselves will drive social issues and they will come to the fore. So to me, I think there is urgency for action on the social front. I think coterminous, actually, I would say a step ahead of the economic momentum that we are seeing, but at least coterminous with the economic change that is happening. But that is not what is really seen. Social issues are lagging behind. So there is, I would say, in a delivery context, a challenge in terms of getting social issues to become coterminous. And as I see, the challenge is huge because the economic context is changing at a pace which at least I did not believe it would 10 years back. Even accounting for the change that we saw in China and making probably an estimate that we could probably more or less match that growth 10 years later. But you really did not imagine that it would hit us with the force that it is hitting us today. We are keeping pace with the growth that happened in China, say, minus 10 years. So I would think that given the momentum that we are seeing on the ground, this would sustain in all areas of operations. Of course, there is a question of, will the model be a Chinese model in the context of manufacturing being the engine of growth or momentum? I think our sequencing has been different and probably will stay different, but that's not our topic today. But be that as it may, growth in double digits is already on us and we cannot change it. I think I'll just make that statement and then move on. I think we then need to look at, in a social context, what are the challenges that we need to face and what is it that we need to address. And rightly so, there are 4 or 5 issues that have been flagged. I think health, education, and within education, skilling. The point that Kiel made, I think is probably going to be the biggest challenge for us in the next 5 years. That is skilling from, I would say, 2 contexts. One, to make people ready for the opportunities that this double-digit growth momentum will provide. And second, clearly, get those jobs or the vacancies filled. In both contexts, we need skilling, and we are woefully short. I think Indian industry is realizing it. I think the Indian knowledge industry has already realized it and taken several steps to get the skilling machine up. Murthy wouldn't say this, but Infosys runs a campus where 10,000 young Indians are skilled, young global staff is skilled every year. This is my campus at Mysore. Well, I would say 20,000 really, because 10,000 6-month programs, you're doing 20,000 a year. But you need many more of skilling initiatives at, I would say, entry-level jobs in a variety of skills which don't exist. So skilling is a challenge that we will need to look at within the subset of education. And there, I think in terms of delivery, I would rather use the word delivery than governance. I think very interesting issues come up, and the reason I'm talking about this one subject is that all other subjects then fall in context within what I am describing in this. How do you deliver education? Do you, or how do you deliver skilling? Do you deliver within the context of current, I would say, institutions that you have for education? Or do you develop new educational institutions? If you are going to develop new educational institutions for skilling, what about the cost implications of that? How do you actually deliver the whole, the package, as it were, to reach a large mass? When we're talking of a large mass in India, we talk of millions of people. We don't talk of hundreds of people, thousands of people, or 100,000s of people. We'll have to talk in terms of millions of people. So how do you deliver it? Are there models which have not been tried elsewhere that we can try here? For example, is it right to look at skilling as something that starts, let us say, in the 6th grade instead of something in high school or post-high school? Because you have a large number of dropouts. Can we get people skilled early on? I don't want to get into a whole treatise or a whole project paper on this. But the point that I'm making is that when we talk of delivery of or addressing a challenge that we have, we will have to think through the delivery mechanism and all the ramifications of going through the delivery. The same would apply for health in the context of providing access to health to the mass. And the same would apply, I would dare say, for financial services. And we are today trying to package this under one phrase, inclusiveness in the financial services context. I would think that these three in a social context become critical. If you can properly educate and skill your people, if you can provide proper healthcare for them, and basically allow them to leverage financial services to their good. And when I talk of them, this is 600 to 700 million people who are not into the banking net. And I would think that subset of people probably is that the challenge that we have, what KL put as the social challenge. This is the subset of our population that needs to be addressed. I think in each one of these areas, thought processes have started, but probably the most work has probably been done to date on the financial services end, or work has started to be done. We will probably see the fruits of it in the next probably 2 to 3 years. And this has been done through several initiatives in terms of taking or making it possible to reach out to the mass. And communication technology has played a key role in getting it to happen. Again, I don't want to cite a treatise on this and take you through step by step. Suffice to say that every bank is working on this, and I would think every financial services player will work on this. Other than a bank, I'm sure insurance companies are working on this, and in course of time, other intermediaries also will get into this part in terms of how to address savings from this mass and how to address issues of income generation. Probably the sequencing should be income generation and savings. I think this is being addressed. I would think that the challenge really is to think through how do you deliver these in what I would call a process-oriented way. And Murthy again in his morning keynote talked about process as the key. I would think each one of these areas that you're talking about, process is the key. We would not need to get the process right in terms of delivery. If we are to take governance as only, as a proxy for the phrase corruption, I don't want to go that route. I think that is something that we have to address separately. But what I want to say is that there are a whole lot of steps in the delivery of various things which we need to do to a large mass of our population. And in that process, we need to address all the blocks to delivery that we have. And I think we are taking small steps, and we need to take bigger steps as we go along.